right, North-South Connection, YouTube. We're here live on a Tuesday evening to talk about John Cena's 2025 matches. Joined usually with Richie Mars, and we got a good old friend back here, JayxCruz. First, Jay, what's up, buddy? How you been?
Good, Ryan. How you doing, man?
Good. I don't want to say I have John Cena fatigue, but I'm ready for the next subject.
Mm-hmm.
And Richie, including the draft that we did on John Cena matches, the post shows, and the previews, this is your fourth John Cena event with me in a week.
I can't wait to stop talking about John Cena. You know, AJ Styles has beat up John Cena. I can't wait to stop talking about John Cena.
Well, I actually think it's interesting to do it now while it's fresh in your mind and the nostalgia is like still in your bones and in your veins, and the aggravation hasn't dissipated yet, and the freshness is still there on the wound, so to speak. And all those bad and good thoughts are there. So I like that because John Cena is obviously a historical figure. And in time, this match series could grow or it could shrink. But in the here and now, I want to have our kind of our vulnerable takes on it. At the end, so what we're going to do here, guys, for the audio listeners, John Cena had 18 matches in 2025. Just like a typical countdown with me and Justin, we're going to count them down. 1 being the best, 18 being the worst. But what we're adding here is we're going to talk about the moments in between as well, and perhaps where things went awry for John on this run, things that they could have done to maybe perhaps make it a little better, or things that they did great that are under the radar that are going to age well. So that's kind of where we're starting. And one more thing is, when we talk about the Rumble and the Chamber, we're going to talk about John within the Rumble. We're going to talk about John within the Chamber, right? So he's not going to get a full Monte for the Chamber, not a full Monty for the Royal Rumble. So, Richie, Jay, any questions before we kind of get going?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
All right. So, we're going to kick it off here with the Royal Rumble match itself. John lasted 30 minutes and 31 seconds, and he came in at number 23. John Cena cut an awesome promo on the Netflix Raw leading into it, making the Royal Rumble his mission statement to make 2025 his year, gain number 17, and the Rumble was kind of his reason and his object of kicking off the year strong. Richie, I'll jump to you. What did you think of John in the Rumble? Was it his strong performance, his best performance? And where do you think this kind of lays on the list as we get going? Because personally, I thought the Rumble this year was excellent, and I thought John had a little bit too much of old John Cena that he had to kind of wash off in the Rumble, was showing a little bit too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble was his over-the-top John Cena, which is a very mixed reaction, bidding because of John Cena. But it's like he gets these over-the-top moments, like when him and Jay are on the apron. You see Cena do like the double take between the apron, the floor, the apron, the floor. And sometimes that could take you out of the moment. But overall, it's like, it reminds me of like when John Cena would do those one-off appearances, you know, where it's like he's playing to the entirety of the audience. He's being really over the top, and that's going to bring people nostalgia, but it's also going to irritate some other people who've grown up watching this kind of John Cena. And his moves, I think he just landed like AAs, maybe a 5-knuckle shuffle and a clothesline. He didn't really do that much if you think about it. He was there for the important spots, for the eliminations. But again, it was more so he was just kind of finding the footing, finding the groove. And again, I'm not sure at this time they already had what they had planned for Elimination Chamber already set up, but it just seemed like we were just getting over the top John Cena. And, you know, that could leave a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah, I feel like John Cena still had his nostalgia shoes on, so to speak, Jay. I feel like John Cena, even his like punches were wonky. Some of his offense, of course, is wonky and goofy, so to speak. He did shed that as the year went on, as he got more serious. Well, I feel that John was a little bit too much of an old self here. Do you understand what I'm trying to say with that? And do you think, my question with you, Jay, here is, do you think he should have won the Rumble over Jay? Here we are in hindsight 11 months later.
So to say that, I mean, it's, you go back and kind of try to rethink. I think everybody's expectation was for John Cena to win the Royal Rumble. I think us going into it, you're like, oh, John Cena is a no-brainer. In hindsight, do I think he should have won the Rumble? look, I'm also a big Jey Uso fan, so I was the surprise was definitely bigger with Jey Uso winning. I think if
100%. Yeah.
won, I think it would have been like, oh, okay, John Cena won another Royal Rumble. Great. I think in terms of the surprise and the shock, I think it still leaves with a bigger moment with Jey Uso winning. But I wouldn't have had I wouldn't have changed the way the Rumble went. I do agree with you guys that John Cena's performance here was very cartoony, which is again he shed off after that. But I wouldn't have changed the Rumble for what it was. No, because of the bigger emotional reaction that everybody got from it. And that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think John benefited mostly to kind of show the world again what his star power really is.
Mhm.
His star shined bright this night. And
Mhm.
honestly, his star is what ultimately kind of helped Jay get over the hump this night, too. Not only eliminating him last, but just to be like, wow, they went with Jey Uso over
Mhm.
John Cena when this is supposedly going to be John Cena's year. So I think John did help the Rumble. I just don't think it was one of his best performances. And honestly, but as for right now, it's number one for us. I think
Mhm.
without that's always a gimmick with me and Justin. It's like, well, it's number one, right? So there's nothing to compare it against. But I think it's
Right.
time that we kind of compare it to the Elimination Chamber. Chamber was 32 minutes and 36 seconds, and John came out last. I know there was a few eliminations before this, but I believe the only elimination John had was was CM Punk to end the chamber. And of course, that came off of the cool angle with Seth Rollins being eliminated with a curb stomp, and then John dragging Punk into the ring, and had a somewhat tight um, attitude. What is it? STFU, right?
Mhm.
So it was a great angle, even on Unreal with Punk laying it out. It worked beautifully with execution, and I thought John was a lot more snugger and a lot more less cartoonish. And
Mhm.
of course, we can talk about what came afterwards too, as well. Now, my question with you is, guys, should we weigh that on this list as well? Because I think it's a critical part on his run, of course, but we're talking about his matches. But do we want to mend in some moments as well? And also, one more thing, guys, before I forget, for you guys listening and watching afterwards, all the way to the right here on our screen are star ratings. Those are not my star ratings. Those are not Richie's. Those are not Jay's. Those are from John Canton on his website, my good friend John Canton. John was able to have all star ratings available. So I just wanted to add them to the spreadsheet so we have something to kind of base our opinion off of and compare to as well. Jay, let's start with you. What did you think of John within the chamber?
Within the chamber, kind of like the Rumble, it wasn't his best chamber match. I think he's definitely had better chamber
Yeah.
matches. And again, with this being only his second match, I think there was still a lot of like, I don't want to say ring rust, but there is a lot of like John Cena having to get comfortable in this, in his body of work, trying to get back into, ring get his ring awareness. I mean, there were still bits and pieces of this here where you're like, okay, well, we're still getting the cartoony of John Cena because of his over exaggeration of his mannerisms.
Yeah.
But all in all, it was a pretty good chamber. I think it could have been better for all the people that were in it. But in terms of what John Cena did, I think the way he took advantage of CM Punk, which was a bit of a surprise at how he jumped right to definitely taking advantage of it, which is not really like his style. So that one kind of threw me off. I was like, okay, so he is going to be a little bit more serious and truly mean what he said at the Rumble press conference is now he's going to call his shot. And he definitely took the
Great call.
opportunity to show that because what his goal was to go to main event his last WrestleMania. So all in all, I think the ending, the drama of the ending of that match with the curb stomp, him pulling CM Punk to the middle, and then Punk passing out in the STF, I think added to a great a part of that match.
Yeah, and John did lace up his boots for that last part. And he
Mhm.
started to shed that wonkiness that we kind of harped on with the Rumble as well. Richie, do you think John Cena being pretty much predictable to win this match. Hurt this match because I looked back, I went 4 1/4 in this match. I thought it was an excellent Chamber. And honestly, whenever I look back at Chambers, at my grades or my star ratings, I'm like, I can't believe I graded this one so high. Chambers is an underrated gimmick for the WWE, but sometimes predictable. Do you think the predictability hurt it, or the predictability dissipated because the shock of the angle afterwards?
I think just with John Cena expected to go for number 17, the Chamber match, it's like, well, it's either this or the Rumble, and he already lost a Rumble, so why not the Chamber? I think this was more of a, because it's a Chamber, it's ironic for me saying this. It was like a safe part for John Cena to shake off that ring rust. Because if you look in this matchup right here, this was the first like moments of old John Cena where he had that chemistry with CM Punk. And it's just like, that was the first Eureka moment where I'm like, okay, he's not totally washed. Like, he's still a step behind, but he's still willing to do more than just the meat and potatoes of what John Cena is. Just like, 5 moves of doom. I think they even hit a heart attack in this match, him and Punk. And again, like Jay said, I really did enjoy the ending of John taking advantage, because it was like a slight tease of what was to come afterwards. And also just John Cena keeping his word that he'll do whatever it takes to get to that title match at WrestleMania to get number 17. And I really did enjoy this match more than the Rumble, because 1, we got to see more John Cena, and 2, it really was a better showcase for him, because with the Rumble, you have like you're trying to get over like so many different parts at once. Well, with this, it was more of like, okay, we could showcase John, we could showcase the Drew and Priest story, the Seth and Punk story, but also it's John trying to scratch and claw to get to number 17.
Yeah. All right. I think that we weigh the angle as we go when we compare the Chamber to other things. But in my opinion, I think the Chamber should be above a Royal Rumble match when it pertains to John. You guys with agreements with that?
I agree.
Yep.
All right. So we'll move this up. So, and mind you guys, how Justin and I have done this in the past. It's not it's not in stone to the complete end. So it's just like we'll put them in our tiers. If it's like, all right, well, I feel like this where it should be for now, and then at the end we'll kind of massage it out and get there. But there's no massage in this one. WrestleMania 41. I think it's the most disappointing match on the list, just based off expectation of the WrestleMania main event, and expectation of the road, of the resume Cody Rhodes has had, years champion. He hasn't missed in many matches, and this was a miss in my opinion. 25 minutes and 3 seconds. I think we had Fiend for about 22 minutes of that. But even before the Travis Scott Fiend nonsense, we still got a little bit too much of shortcuts that I'm going to kind of pertain to with John all night. John didn't really have an appetizer in these matches that we're going to talk about tonight. He got straight to the entrees, and this was the first example of it. But this was just like a cheap entree, and it just didn't hit. You were at an expensive restaurant, and the meat was overcooked. The salad was soggy, all that. They were off that night. And of course, they could probably have internal disappointment with, thinking that it may stink. This is where I totally would have pivoted this. I'm going to let it out of the bag and just kind of give my scenario. Not that I know everyone has a scenario, and that's the crux of everyone's pushback. It's because it's not what I would have done, and I don't like to look at it like this. But honestly, I think they would have had a better fair shake if they had the SummerSlam match here at WrestleMania and Cody retained. And then John went on a journey, turned babyface right afterwards. John's at the climax of the WrestleMania match, goes to cheat, but doesn't cheat, because he realizes that he's shucking the rough stuff. He realizes that he is still John motherfucking Cena, and he's going to win with hustle, loyalty, and respect, not taking the back door like he did with Dwayne a month ago. So he doesn't kick Cody in the dick, doesn't hit him with the belt. He tries to win with an AA, Crossroads, and then he gets caught. He can still have the Randy Orton match for a number 1 contendership. Be creative, figure that out. And then I would flip the Punk in the Cena spot. I would have him win the match. I would have him win the belt from Cody at Night of Champions and lose it to Punk at SummerSlam, and you still get the Seth cash in at SummerSlam. That's how I would have fixed John Cena's run. But then again, I'm not the booker. Like Richie would say, it's not my company. Right, Richie? But this is the big, and honestly, I think I talked about that scenario with Ibu when I previewed the WrestleMania main event match. So it's like I can't believe that came back to me today in retention. But I don't want to harp it on like what should have happened, because I think that's where people kind of struggle going down the line of kind of like, it wasn't my idea, they didn't do my idea, so they shit on things. I'm not shitting on it, but I think we should shit on this match. Easily number 3 to me. Richie, I believe you're up next to kind of go first. I don't believe you were with me on the post show here, but I had a low-key meltdown. I blamed a lot of it on The Rock, but ultimately I didn't like what it did for Cody, and I still feel that Cody still kind of reap some of those negative rewards that he gained that night at WrestleMania 41. I just wish that they pivot. I'm long and drawn out here. Richie, take the floor.
Yeah, for the heel turn in general, it's one of those things where John said in Chris Van Vliet that he wanted to bring a more methodical style for this matchup in particular, because as a heel, you usually try to change your style up at least like a little bit to differentiate yourself from like the babyface and heel persona. But with John, he hasn't worked heel at that point in like 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a giant disconnect for a lot of people who've enjoyed watching John Cena for all this time. And the heel pace is a slower pace. But I remember there was one point in the match where John just kept stomping out Cody, and we're just like, well, that's not John, and it's going to be a very hard thing to swallow when it comes to John Cena being a heel and Cody being the babyface, when usually you'd think in a match type like this, the roles would kind of be reversed, because, Cody wants to be the now, John Cena wants to go one more shot for that championship. I think they played their trump card too early in terms of not the heel turn, but I think John going for the championship this early on. In my opinion, for the whole retirement tour, I think the race against the clock to get number 17 would have been the better story to go to, because then you actually have a story that's going through all out these appearances and matches where it's like clock's running out. Is he going to win the championship? Is he not going to win the championship? And having this as his third matchup, then the anticipation's gone. It's like, oh, he's champion already? Oh, okay. Then what else do we have to do for this entire retirement tour? They try to do the whole I'm going to ruin wrestling thing. And if you go by this match, I'm like, yeah, I guess John is trying to ruin wrestling a little bit with this style. But again, it was a match that didn't really damage John that much, because we all expected, okay, this is his final year. It did damage Cody a little bit, because Cody was kind of on a streak of having very good to like great championship matches.
No doubt.
And I think the only exception would be the Solo Sikoa SummerSlam one. But it was just not the match that I think Cody needed. And in my opinion, it would have been better if John turned heel in this matchup, because at least like it would be a shocking double whammy where it's like John's champion, cool, but also he turned heel in this match.
Yeah.
So that would like really blow people's minds.
The reason I was such a proponent of the heel turn is because I felt that John, in the start of the year, with the wonkiness in the ring rust and everything, he wasn't ready, and he hadn't won a singles match since 2018, 2017.
Yeah, it was
So
like over 2,000. It was like over like 1,000 days or something like that.
Whatever it was, there was some justification of him trying to change who he is. And then that's why I would have told the story that he finds himself in this WrestleMania match, because they have the SummerSlam style match. That's where I'm coming from, because I felt that in the Rumble and Chamber, John needed to be rehabbed as a wrestler, right? And the heel turn did that. Jay, before I go to you, we have a comment here. I never thought Cody and John were going to have a good match that night at all. Brandon Janu, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I was a little trepidatious too about it. Are you down on it, Jay? And are you down on it because the bar was so high with the two names going into the WrestleMania main event?
Yes, I'm the expectation of this match that I had, because of what we know John Cena can do versus we know what Cody Rhodes could do. And I watched John Cena back, when he was I know he was trying to go back to that style. If you go back to watch his match with The Undertaker and Kurt Angle, when he was a heel, he had that slow, methodical. But like Richie said, people weren't used to that. It had been 22 years since we had seen John Cena work a match style like that. Yeah. He had already lifted the bar of what people expected a match for him to have. And I know we're talking about him trying to get the kinks out, but this match definitely hurt what people expected out of this run, and it hurt it really bad to a point where like you're like, okay, well, if this is the shitty matches that we're gonna get, like of course he's gonna try to ruin wrestling. It's not the style of wrestling we're used to watching. And to kind of piggyback what Richie was saying, I think if they would have pulled the trigger on him becoming a heel at WrestleMania, sort of like what they did with Stone Cold, I think it would have been more impactful, like when he turned, on The Rock and stuff like that. But yeah, this is probably my least favorite match. And we'll definitely get into the other ones. From the start, from the three, I've never gone back to rewatch this match.
Nor do I want to.
Yeah, I haven't, like, especially with the Travis Scott and like the 15-minute long entrance, and it was just too much. And that took me out of the match, and I think I ended up like nodding off during the match too, because I was bored out of my mind. So
yeah, even leading into the crescendo with Travis Scott, it
was super slow. I think with Cena working a heel style, they still could have had a better match. I don't think anything connected with this match at all.
All right, I think it's easily our last one right now. I'm curious where it kind of lands on our list, and we'll see what happens, right? So, all right, Cody Rhodes. After Cody Rhodes, excuse me. Oh, let me fix that. John went to St. Louis and faced Randy Orton in Backlash. And Richie, I believe you said earlier that Triple H told him, all right, we got to pick up the pace a little bit here in the in-ring action. Would you hear that? Would he say that in Van Vliet?
Yeah, John said in Van Vliet where he was like, all right, I'm going to wrestle more methodical style. And then Triple H, before the Randy match, is like, we got to have you wrestle a little bit more exciting, just because, like the Cody match, it did its job in terms of getting John the championship, but in terms of being a satisfying like middle point for this feud, I feel like a lot of people are like dreading. It's like, oh, okay, now we have to wait for Cody to get back. He's gonna win the championship.
Yeah,
but it's like now we're going through like the motions here. But at least in this build up to the Cody match, you can actually like kill two birds with one stone and actually have John do a role reversal of rivalries, because he was a babyface pretty much all his career, and we never seen Randy Orton versus John Cena babyface heel since like the OVW days when Cena was the prototype. So with this is like a cool little like love letter. Randy Orton, St. Louis, John Cena. It's easier for him to get booed in this situation, last time ever. And honestly, like when it comes to John Cena Randy Orton matches, there are people who love this rivalry. I was knee deep in it when it was happening, and it was very tedious getting through this entire rivalry. So then the matches were just kind of there to me. And to be honest, it's like when I watched this Backlash match, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. But honestly, they had a very good outing, and I feel like this is one of their better matches in comparison to some in the past. I think people will have the I Quit match higher, the Iron Man match higher. Personally, I'd go with the Hell in a Cell match in 2014. I think that's very underrated by both of them. But
that was their second Hell in the Cell, right?
Yeah,
the second one. Yeah,
not the
that
one
is a
where
very good one.
Not the one where Randy just goes for the punt and then it just misses him by like a mile. Yeah, this is probably their best outing that I could expect from them in the year 2025.
Yeah, Jay, I believe Justin and I did a countdown on the Randy Orton John Cena matches leading into this one, and that was pretty high. Canton has this at 3.25. I got this at like 3.5, 3.75. I thought it kind of outkicked its coverage, and it was a really good rebound for a John Cena in-ring heel standpoint. Where would you kind of have this, Jay, on the list, as we have the list somewhat established 3 deep here? What do you think, and what are your thoughts on the Backlash match?
For me, and I may be just shooting this up really high, I would definitely have this as the second best match from the previous 4. I mean, clearly it's over the Cody one, and it's definitely over the Rumble, just because I feel like Chamber was just a better outing for Cena. And I think because of the heel turn, it puts it a little higher just because of that moment too. I don't know if we were going to count moments, but I feel like
We can run
Elimination Chamber in terms of like that, the whole thing, I would put this at number 2, in my opinion. Because I think outside of the moment, I would definitely put this higher at number 1, because if you're just talking match, this match was definitely better than, Rumble, Chamber, and WrestleMania. So because him and Randy have good chemistry, and it was the first time that they reversed roles. And I think this is what kind of like, okay, well, if he could do matches like this moving forward, the tour is going to be a lot better. So I would definitely put it, if we weren't counting the heel turn, I'd put this at number 1, but definitely for me, I'd put it at number 2, just because the heel turn was a big moment for this whole turn.
Yeah, I think I have that same sentiment right now, Richie. Where are you with the Orton versus Elimination Chamber performance?
Yeah, I agree.
In the Rumble, too, by the way. Yeah.
Like I'd put it at number 2, like as thus far, just because again now John's like wrestling a little bit more his style, and again a lot of these matches still have like a lot of Gaga in it, and I think Gaga in this instant helped cloud Cena's shortcomings, whereas the WrestleMania match they tried to do a traditional like one-on-one for majority of it, and it just wasn't to Cena style, and Cody tried his best to adapt to it because Cody's a very adaptable wrestler.
Yeah.
But again, like thankfully, like this was a better outing for John and showed some brilliance in his heel turn.
Brandon again here. John and Randy rivalry is great in theory, but not in reality. Some pretty true to that. There's some truth to that as well, right? I think.
Well, Richie says like a lot of their matches were pretty tedious and they were repetitive. So if you go back and really watch their matches, yes, in terms of the story, their stories were great. Their matches, I mean, outside of like, like he said, the I Quit match, the Iron Man and the second Hell in the Cell, they really, none of their matches really scream out to you.
Yeah. It's a house show feud with a bunch of house show matches in a way, but there is 2 big names and generational talents that kind of rised up together. So I think that Brandon kind of puts that in a pretty good tone as well. Rivalry is great in theory than not, right? So I think Edge and Punk are better than Orton. So all right. Saturday night's main event versus R-Truth, Ron Cena, 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Canton gave this 2 stars. I don't really remember much about this match other than Ron Cena's entrance, which was pretty electric. All the mannerisms, mocking John Cena, wearing the Ron Cena t-shirt. Actually, I think debuting the Ron Cena t-shirts, the hat, my childhood hero, even though I'm 10 years older than you. All of the R-Truthisms were rocking and rolling this night, and the match probably should have been 4 minutes and 25 seconds. And I thought this was a good stamp of John Cena, the heel. But it's at best it's a fine match. And Jay, any feelings on the R-Truth version 1 match here to add on to that?
I walked into this match with very low expectation, and I walked out the same. It was a squash match. It was they knew that they could get people to boo John Cena because R-Truth is so lovable. And the match did what it was supposed to do. It's R-Truth trying to get his childhood hero to come back to the light, and it didn't work. It did what it did. It allowed Cena to be a heel and for people to boo him because nobody really wanted to boo him during this tour, but they knew putting him in the ring with R-Truth would do it. But it is what it is. The match is there for me. Again, not a match I've gone back to rewatch.
Yeah, Richie, mind you, this is a vehicle to kind of have Cody return as well and build to the next match here on the list. But R-Truth versus Cody Rhodes, Richie, what do you think?
Again, it was a short program, TV program with Truth because he has the tie-in with the whole John Cena thing, and I thought it was apropos, Truth trying to get John Cena, the real John Cena, back. And again, this started at Backlash, and then you go through until Saturday night's main event, the Ron Cena stuff. And yeah, you saw at the end of the Randy Orton match, you saw Cena's face like holding some remorse for what he's doing. And then he kind of played it off in this match where Truth says, "Oh, I finally got John back." And then John just kicks him low, and then just finishes him off from there. So yeah, it's just like a means to an end, where it's like it was more of a segment than a match, and then it's gonna help build the next match that we're gonna talk about.
All right, I'm just gonna put, out of respect for now, I'm gonna put it below Cody. Just see where it lands when we kind of massage this out, and we can have another conversation about WrestleMania as we compare it. But we'll see how much we hate WrestleMania in comparison. At least the R-Truth had meaning besides him really doing a favor.
At least I felt joyous watching it.
Yeah, it was cool to see him in the John Cena attire and just do the same mannerisms like you guys are saying. But outside of that, yeah,
it's forgettable. All right, so at Money in the Bank, John Cena teamed with Logan Paul versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Supposedly, this is supposed to be the Travis Scott match, where it was Travis, Logan, and Cena versus the Usos and Cody Rhodes. This went 24 minutes. Canton had it 3.25. I believe I had the same grade. Honestly, Richie, it's kind of forgettable.
Yeah, again, it's just one of those matches to get to the next angle, and this paid off the R-Truth angle, where it's like he was let go, and then Truth came back, and that's where the crowd really got electric. And I really did feel like the Truth's being left go, especially in quick succession to the John Cena match, really did hamper this feud, this build. And again, it's one of those things where this is just to get to the next beat. It's like, okay, Jey and Cody are going to win, so Cody has a reason to want to go against Cena, or like a legitimate claim to get against Cena. And then you had the Jey and Logan thing that was still not really that well developed, but it was still kind of there. And then you have Truth there costing John the victory. So again, it was a definition of like, okay, this is a tag match that's happening. Like, marquee names, good guys win, move on to the next thing. And in my opinion, it's like I would put it above probably above the Truth and Cody match for now, and then just see where it lands.
I think I'm good with that too as well, Jay. Any obsession, any objection to that? It was anything you want to add?
No, I agree. I'd put it over the Truth and Cody Rhodes match. I mean, up until that, this was probably the better match that they had. I mean, with all parties involved, I think everybody's pretty good. But kind of like Richie said, it was just to get us to the next segment. But all in all, the match was good. But yeah, in terms of match quality, it's definitely above Cody and R-Truth. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is where they shedded the WrestleMania plans. Like they probably had WrestleMania through Money in the Bank laid out with Backlash in between, and this is where they kind of started to shed all of that too, as well, as we'll kind of get into. I think they could definitely rework some stuff there, and maybe even have Cody Cena 2 here, right? And then maybe Cena wins the belt at Money in the Bank, opposed to WrestleMania, and off the journey that we talked about as well. And then maybe we can still have the number 3 and you get the SummerSlam mega blow off. I don't know. I'm just trying to help their situation out a little bit here, instead of having really, honestly, April, May, and June just being so blah and losing so much time in here. But all right, we have another R-Truth match, and that is on SmackDown. This one is 5 minutes and 58 seconds. And Jay, this led to John Cena's best promo of the run, the pipe bomb. So the CM Punk feud had kicked off the week before on Monday Night Raw, or 2 weeks before on Monday Night Raw. I'm not really sure. But anyways, the CM Punk feud is off and running, and they're going to Saudi Arabia. And John, let's just say, mimicked the CM Punk pipe bomb from 2011. And John did an excellent job of doing that mimic. And I thought this was excellent. I thought it added a lot of juice and excitement to that Night of Champions match. And it really, really was an excellent promo. And honestly, one of the top promos of John's career, and definitely the top promo of this run. I don't know how to weigh that, but I wanted to bring it up here for the R-Truth match. Anything? I don't remember anything about the match. Let's be real.
No, the promo definitely outshined and outdid whatever this match was. I don't remember it either. And I think I said this plenty of times. This is when I feel like this lit the fire in the tour, because whatever CM Punk did in terms of like the way he is on the mic, his mannerisms, the way he gets in John Cena's face, and John Cena said this is his wrestling soulmate, and I feel like this is where the matches started to mean something, especially in this rivalry with CM Punk, because that was one of the matches I wanted to see, is CM Punk and John Cena, especially on this last run, and the fact that we got Punk back. But I think this is when the rivalry or the tour picked up for me, is during this little segment with him and Punk, and I think this is what helped it, because it gave, it made more sense in terms of how Punk delivered the promos, but John Cena doing his own version of the pipe bomb was just, excellent. I think added to how good the rivalry with him and Punk is.
Yeah, it really was. I wish we could weigh that pipe bomb, Richie, opposed to the match, but I think we can meld them a little bit here. Richie, what does your gut tell you where to kind of insert this R-Truth match?
Again, the Truth deal was kind of like a cool callback to the original pipe bomb, because John and Truth had a match, and then
oh, that's right, yeah.
And then Punk interfered, and then this is kind of the same thing, kind of playing off that, along with the John and Truth rivalry. So it's a good kind of like full circle kind of moment. Like for the pipe bomb alone, I would put it above the Saturday night's main event one. But as like the match, at least I remember moments of the match of the Saturday night's main event one. The only thing I remember with this was just like them brawling on the outside and then Cena getting disqualified.
Yeah.
As a match itself, it's under the Saturday night's main event Truth match. But if you were to meld the pipe bomb promo in there, then it would like overtake it a little bit.
I think we should overtake it. Honestly, if you want to overtake the WrestleMania one as we go, I'm good with it. But I think we should just do this for now and kind of move on and touch upon it later. Once we feel on how we're going to weigh the moments in as we go, in a way too. So I'm good with this right now. All right, CM Punk, Night of Champions, 26 minutes and 17 seconds. One of you guys just mentioned, or I think both of you guys mentioned, CM Punk is his wrestling soulmate. And you saw that this night to some aspect. This match definitely had some clunk to it. Like I can recall Punk trying to do like AJ Lee's spider submission on in
Black Widow, yeah.
Black Widow, and it just like looked clunky and bad. And I think they went back to it, and that took me out a little bit from two professionals that never really put in vulnerable decisions to make them look kind of bad. But other than that, once they got in a groove, these guys started cooking in this match. But I think this match is harped on because of storylines implications and in protecting CM Punk, who was going to go on and win the World Heavyweight Championship in 2 months at SummerSlam. And I'm sure they knew that the plan was the plan at the time. And they wanted to have this final match, but they wanted to kind of give CM Punk an out for losing the title here. And you had the Seth Rollins and Vision nonsense, and I think that kind of took away from it. Canton went 3 3/4. I went a gentleman's 3. I thought this was good at best, and I was pretty disappointed as a whole afterwards. Richie, I believe we did the post show for this one. What kind of sentiment did you share on this match?
I think it was just like the whole gaggle of interference, and it just made it obviously like not clunky, but it was just like, all right, now the Vision, now Sammy, now Penta, who was there, and then like trying to do the cash in, not trying to do the cash in. It's a lot of stories trying to converge at once, but it wasn't into the central story of John versus Punk. And I feel like a lot of people want John versus Punk, but like you said, Ryan, you want to give Punk an out before that World Championship match against Gunther. So this was kind of like the compromise, and it didn't really like give credence to the argument that John Cena's matches up to this point needed a lot of gaga, needed a lot of different players involved in order to hide John's weaknesses, because he did say himself that he's a step behind. And if you look at all these matches so far, he needed interference in order to make the match kind of interesting. So for me personally, I'd probably put this one like either I'm teetering between under the Rumble or above the Rumble. Like I
Yeah,
might
that's a decent spot.
like
That's,
I
that's a
like
decent
I
spot.
I might go over the Rumble because he like you could see the flashes of like the chemistry between Punk and Cena here for certain stretches of the matchup. So I think that's a good spot to put it. But again, there were just so much interferences that just kind of just overwhelmed me as a viewer watching this.
Yeah, just due to the disappointment of it all, Jay. And I don't know if you share that sentiment. I don't. I'll give you the floor in a second. I actually think it should be under the Rumble. So Richie thinks it should be over. I think it should be under. Jay, we're putting the ball in your court. This one. Share what you think about this CM Punk match.
For the exception of like all, like you guys said, all the Gaga that was in it, there were two. There's just so when I went to go back and rewatch this match, I have forgotten that I remember the Seth part and the Bronson Reed. I forgot about Sammy and I forgot about Penta.
Yeah.
I think if it wouldn't have had all that, I think the match would have spoken. But again, there was a lot of parts where their chemistry, like Richie said, came out, and you could see why they're so good together.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, just because I enjoyed it a little better, I would put it over the Rumble.
And I'm pretty good with. As I messed
Yeah.
that up, and I'm pretty good with that as well.
Just because of it's more focused on John Cena in a one-on-one match. And I think that's the only reason why I would put it a hair higher. In terms of like moments, Jey Uso, it's not about Jey Uso, but I think the only reason I put this over because Jey Uso won the Rumble, not John Cena. It would have been a little different if John won the Rumble, so that's why I would put it right above the Rumble.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm good with that. It's the same tier. I'm splitting hairs there. All right, this is the first indication that John Cena is back. And unfortunately, we only had 4 months back, and this is the end of his title reign. And that's versus Cody Rhodes, 37 minutes, 42 seconds at SummerSlam. I watched this today, boys. John had this at 5 stars. Richie, you and I were live. I enjoyed it more live than on rewatch. Spoiler. I might have a little kickback here. I think it's easily number 1 right now. But as we go, I think I'll kind of have my kickback as we go. Jay, I'm going to throw to you first. Easily his best match so far. I think you would say that as well. What do you think of this match overall?
100%. This match was everything it needed to be. Like we said, if this match was at WrestleMania, we definitely would be looking at this run completely different. Easily the best match at this point. Yes. The fact that again, like Richie was saying, there was a lot of that needed to do to cover John Cena's weaknesses, but I think this being a no rules match to kind of just go one-on-one with Cody, this definitely was the John Cena that we all wanted. And I think this match spoke volumes. The fact that they both brought it. By far, this was the best John Cena match of 2025. Yes.
Is excellent. Rich, I know you love it as well. Anything you want to add on to it, or do you want to kind of dig deeper when we have to kind of compare it to something?
I don't think a lot of people remember like kind of the vibe that was going on into this matchup where like John literally turned babyface the night before, or
Which was weird,
SmackDown,
yeah.
which was so timing wise. I think they wanted John to turn babyface after this match, but I think they just wanted for the story to just be like without hangups. It's like, all right, you're gonna get babyface John versus babyface Cody, which is ironic because when it was rumored the year prior that we're going to get Cody versus John at WrestleMania, people were like, babyface versus babyface feud. That's going to be boring, and now here we are clamoring that the babyface versus babyface match is better than the babyface versus the traditional heel match, which I find pretty funny. Like this match had a lot of iconic moments. It had a lot of, kind of the same like Gaga, but at least it was like well-structured Gaga, where you had some traditional Cena spots, the throwing of the steel steps over the top rope, the STF with the ropes, the code red on the floor, the Cody Vader attitude adjustment spot. Like you had the triple crossroads kick out, the triple AA kick out, yet all of that good stuff. And again, it's just one of those things where this is the most complete John Cena match of the tour, I feel like, in terms of this is how John Cena wrestles, or this is how
And
he
then
will
also
wrestle.
like the visual of him coming through the ramp with Cody on his shoulders. I mean,
Yeah, that's memeable.
yeah.
Mind you, the Brock Lesnar moment. I don't give a fuck. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like being there live, it's surreal. Like they had the overhang rumor of The Rock, but they didn't expect the Barack, right? So even with the overhanging rumor of The Rock looming, they still went out there and absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, I think it's just impressive that Cody and John had a completely different match and pretty much made up for their WrestleMania blunder, I think. And it's a credit to both of them that they recognize like how the story was going to go. And then this match was well received. So it's like, yeah, this tops the list so far.
I'm sure we're going to be talking about it as we go as well. All right, Cody Rhodes. Teaming with Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Personally, I love Logan and Drew as a tag team. I hope they kind of go back to that in the future. This was on a SmackDown. It was only 7 minutes and 52 seconds. It seemed like this was a week or two after SummerSlam, Richie. Now with SmackDown as a gap, I can't remember if it was a week or two. It was 5 days.
This was the SmackDown after.
Okay, that's what I thought. So John would go away a little bit here, but this was an angle to kind of show that him and Cody came together.
Both John and Cody would go away for a while here.
Yeah, actually, Street Fighter, right? And then this showed that, and this was also to have them come together to complete the babyface turn, and obviously to kind of shoot an angle for Logan for Paris, right? So, again, this is a little forgettable.
Like at least with the truth matches, I remember something from them. With this, I remember nothing. I remember Cody being put through the announcer table, but that's not about John. That was about Cody. So with this, it was one of those things where it's like a cool epilogue for the Cody and John story. But other than that, it's just to move forward with these kind of matches for the future. So, again, I could go either way. Again, at least I remember stuff from the previous match. I remember nothing from this one.
Yeah, I didn't remember this match until I saw it on the list. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, so it's like I would put this on. Like the thing is, it's like I remember WrestleMania 41 because of the pain, but is it better to remember being painful than not remember something at all? So that's what I'm kind of conflicted with.
I don't know. We got Mr. Sky Captain Charisma. Hey guys, my bad. I didn't realize the Nature Boys in the chat. I didn't realize either. Woo! Right. So, all right. This is kind of like a weird one. None of us really recall any of it. Do you want to split the R-Truths and figure it out later?
Yeah. I feel like that's a good kind of in between kind of middle.
At least we had the pipe bomb on that.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, we had Ron Cena, so I don't know. Now I'm teetering back that like we should probably put the tag match last.
Yeah, because Ron Cena is more of a memorable moment. So yeah.
Okay, you didn't have to twist my arm. All right, Logan Paul, Clash in Paris. Canton went 4.5 stars. This was 26 minutes and 24 seconds. This is a solidification that John Cena is back as an in-ring wrestler, right? Personally, I went 4 on it. I thought it was great, but I don't think it was like legendary. It's top 5 for me. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's probably number 2. I can see the case if you wanted to put the Chamber above it, but I think John wrestled much better this night than he did in February or March, wherever the Chamber was. So I'd love for you guys to pitch for volley because I assume you're going to be a little bit more higher than me on this match. Richie, go.
For me, just because John got a bigger showcase and it was arguably probably the best match of Clash in Paris, I'd probably put it 2 so far. Just because you still had like the callbacks to like past rivals and stuff, but it wasn't much that was like it was overwhelmingly distracting from the match where it's like I feel like it's like, oh wow, John's doing like the more moves because that's what he would do in the old days. And plus it was a good showcase for Logan. You got the AA kickouts a lot, which over the years I've grown to not like as much, but again, as a performance overall, I think both guys did great, even though the feud was kind of less than stellar. So I'd put it like number 2 so far.
You agree with that, Jay? And you want to add anything to the Logan match?
No, again, this was again the full circle of John Cena being back and knowing he can definitely go in the ring. So I'd put it at 2. Yeah, definitely in terms of match quality, it was there. He definitely for someone who like John Cena, who when he's in a ring with people who are better than him, he gets led a lot. He did really good with somebody like Logan. And we know Logan Paul is a good athlete. So very, very good match. So yeah, I agree with putting it at number 2. And that's me being kind because I'm not a Logan Paul fan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think Logan created a lot of the movement, and John did his part perfectly to make it work, right? Logan Paul, 5 matches with John Cena, the Chamber, the Rumble, the tag match on SmackDown, the tag match at Money in the Bank, and then this singles match. He had the most matches with John Cena this run.
The only disappointing thing is I was expecting a Wes Newberry flavored Prime, and we didn't get it because the name is right there, and they didn't do it, and I'm very upset by that.
And Captain Sky or Sky Captain agrees with you, Jay. Is this your buddy, Jay?
No. Well, look, he agrees with me. He's my friend now. That's fine.
I mean, I like him. He's Captain Charisma, you know.
It is a great name, buddy. Yeah. It is a great name. All right. Versus Sami Zayn, 21 minutes, 24 seconds. No contest. U.S. title open challenge. There was some great ramifications that we're feeling beyond coming out of this match. John gave this 4. Guys, I gave this 4.25. I like this better than the Logan Paul match. I'm going to make a pitch for it to be higher than the Logan Paul match. I just felt that it was more organically investable. You had Brock looming as a rumor, and I didn't care. I think Sami Zayn and John have unique chemistry that is phenomenal on that night. I think that they wanted to really harpen the spirit of the open challenge, and John wanted to pass that legacy on. So John put on his working boots, and obviously, like we saw last weekend at Saturday Night's Main Event, John really cares about Sami, and John knows Sami's a good person, and Sami needed a push going on to SmackDown, coming out of the solo stuff, right? So I loved the angle. I loved the match. 21 minutes, 24 seconds. It built and built and built. And the crescendo was a no contest. And I don't really care. You got a Brock surprise again. I'm not going to push back on that. To me, this is a top 5 match of this run. And honestly, it's a forgotten about match. I would have it above Logan. Jay, I'll throw it to you. I don't know how you feel in this match. But push back, please, if you want, Or
no, I definitely like this callback from their first U.S. Open Challenge match. Sami Zayn coming from NXT, and they had a great match then. Seeing them now, so many years later, I don't know what it's like. Like 6, 7, 8 years since they had that last match, and they have awesome chemistry. I mean, this match, stellar match, and the fact that Sami Zayn was putting up the title, against John Cena, you're like, oh, could they really be thinking of doing that? Or, this is unique. So awesome match. I would definitely put it above the Logan Paul match, just because I think the chemistry alone with John and Sami, and again, the story, taking it back to, Sami, one of his first matches on the main roster was against John Cena in an open, U.S. Open Challenge, and I enjoyed it. And again, it brought more relevance to the U.S. title because it was such a dead title for so long. Now that we see Ilya doing that now, and Sami reigniting that, that alone, when you put importance on a mid card title and it elevated it, definitely I'd put that at number 2.
Yeah, Richie, any pushback? Like, this is about the time, Richie, where me and Justin have a crash out. Where it's like I'm trying to force something above 1980 something because it really is higher. But Justin's like, I was 7 years old and it means more to me then. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about 7-year-old Justin. We have an organic fight. Richie, I'm kind of looking for a fight here.
Yeah,
Sami versus Logan. What do you think?
I will give you some pushback. It's not really anything tremendous, but I'm not going to get Justin level. But with Sami Zayn and John Cena, the only thing that really hurt the match's flow were the commercial breaks. You know what I mean, or the picture in pictures.
Yeah,
that's the only thing, unless you're watching on a VPN. But again, it's like this is where, the continuation of the, tribute spots of John to his past opponents, which I am sure a lot of people enjoyed. And plus, Sammy's just a better seller than Logan, which is not to be surprised. So I think Sammy did a tremendous job here. Like Jay said, the callback of the U.S. Open Challenge between both of them, I really enjoyed. The only thing that really sold it, besides the, the commercial breaks in the picture-in-picture, was the Brock Lesnar ending. But even then, it's still a very good match. Like, I'd probably put it top 3. There is a case for number 2, so I wouldn't disagree with that right there. But what's interesting here, this is where when the week after Sammy won the U.S. title and people were booing him like out of the building, which was very interesting. This is John Cena's last appearance on SmackDown. I believe it was in Chicago. I'm not really sure.
It was.
Yeah.
And that's when he debuted in 2002, 20.
Yeah, so it's like it's very sentimental. So like just for that, I feel like the pros definitely outweigh the cons in that situation. And like if you want to put this on number 2, sure. It's like I feel like it's the safer option to put it at number 3 because of the hindrance that I already spoke on. But yeah, like either or, I think there's a good case for 2 or 3 here.
I said we put it 2, and then this is a pivot point where we reshuffle. But first, let me catch on a few comments here. Sky Captain again. He's starting to become our guy here, right? It's odd talking about Cena calling matches, leading young workers after so many years of being carried or not always. I think John's a pretty adequate worker, and maybe perhaps he always led the match, and maybe the other guys carried the movement. But I think John's, was a kind of a general out there, and he would over talk matches some point. But a John match is a John match, and everyone just kind of fit into it is how I would look at past John Cena matches. And honestly, this year John Cena matches, similar to Orton, he's not doing stuff he doesn't want to do, right? And then again, this is refreshing. You guys know your stuff. Listen here, Captain Charisma. Share this with a friend, a neighbor, a cousin, a wrestling fan, whatever. If you're just finding us, share it. Thanks for jumping on, Captain.
Unfortunately, we don't yell. Unfortunately, we don't yell and scream. That's a drawback. That's what gets ratings nowadays. Yelling.
Yeah. Well, because Justin's not here. Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I'll fight, but
I am way too tired to be yelling about John Cena. I want to be done talking about them. This is me finishing my story on him. That's what we're doing.
Richie, we're gonna again. I fucked up. All right, we're gonna throw him second for now, just because we're 2-1. We'll skew it as we go. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, but as I figure out technology, Jay, take the floor on Brock Lesnar.
The match or the person?
The match. We don't have time for
I did not like this match. The fact that they had to do this and then there was nothing after it. At least the first time when John Cena got his ass whooped at SummerSlam, they had a rematch. The fact that they fed him to Brock Lesnar again for no real reason, just to make Brock Lesnar look strong, and then he's only I really did not like this match. To have John Cena just get squashed in the middle of this tour for no real reason. I really didn't like this match. And it comes to the repetitiveness of a Brock Lesnar squash match. I didn't enjoy this. And so when it comes to ranking this, it's not going to be high on my list. So yeah, and I know some people enjoy these kind of matches. They enjoy Brock Lesnar. I get it, but this match did nothing for me, as it did nothing for the John Cena tour or story or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, Richie, I'll jump in here. 8 minutes and 48 seconds, WrestlePalooza, the first ever match on ESPN. So that's probably the indicator there. And they used John Goodwill Equity to bring Brock back on the retirement tour by saying, "Oh, it was requested by John Cena," and yeah, I could see how it was a sly way to kind of insert Brock back. And then after with this angle, you can see that the Brock and the Gunther matches are coming. And then it was methodical to put Brock over John, Gunther over John. So I think with the ESPN and the foresight of a year ahead for Brock, I get why they did it. This was just a Walmart version of that SummerSlam match. This was the great value version of that, so to speak, right? So 2.25. Yeah, I don't mind these matches. It was fine. Fine at best. Overall disappointing, which is going to hurt it on this list. Richie, I don't know. Where would you kind of insert this?
What I
This
hate about
versus this. All right, actually, I'm going to ask you something, Richie. This versus WrestleMania 41. I'm going to make you extremely uncomfortable. What do you think?
Yeah, you're not making me uncomfortable. You're just making me more miserable. Like the thing is, the WrestleMania 41 match, it was a long, like, painful experience.
Yeah, this was 8 minutes.
With this one, it was the 2014 match with none of the charm.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the
point.
thing. At least with this one, this ended sooner. You know what I mean? So it's like the biggest positive of WrestleMania 41, you got to see John Cena win number 17. So it's like kind of like a pick your poison here. With the Brock match, it's like if I had to be, if there's someone's like, you can't leave this room, you have to watch one of these matches, I'll choose the Brock match because I get to leave the room faster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it didn't really do much in the long run just to reestablish Brock. Like he needed to be reestablished. But I guess for the ESPN stuff, you know, you have that, like, you know, eyes on the product. Again, I'd put this, I'll put it above like the WrestleMania 41 match, I guess. But it's like, again, it's like a Sophie's choice here. Like you're not really giving me much to work with.
I know. It's in that tier. Is it below it? Is it above it? Like, are we at this point? Are we underrating Ron Cena in our truth of the play? I really don't know. This match is it worse than a forgettable SmackDown tag though? Right? It's just like this is
it. It's not. We can't say that it's worse because we remember the match. We remember, like, you know, even as painful as Richie says, we remember this match. We don't remember the SmackDown match. This match stands out more than any of the R-Truth stuff. So, I mean, in reality, this match is better than those because we remember the impact that it had. And we also remember how pissed off we were about it too. None of the other matches, for the exception of WrestleMania 41, did it piss us off that much. But in terms of like the impact, it's definitely, I would put it above WrestleMania 41. But it's definitely more important than the true R-Truth matches and the tag match that happened on SmackDown. So, in my opinion.
All right, we'll put it above the Cody match at WrestleMania 41, and we'll go there. All right, I got a question for you. You're stuck in a room for 50 minutes, Richie Mars. Would you rather you have to watch Cody match twice with Fiend playing the whole time, or
it's the same thing?
No, or you get to watch the Brock Lesnar match. What's that? 8 times or 4 times? What's 8 times to get to 50? What's that? 6 times? Excuse me. You have to watch the Brock Lesnar match 6 times in a row with Fiend playing as well. Where are you going?
I mean, the Brock match at least is faster paced.
Yeah.
All right. So you're watching the Brock match 6 times. All right.
Because then at least I could count the suplexes. That'd be nice. I could watch Paul Heyman's introduction, maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. We're that Paul Heyman. All right, you sold the Paul Heyman introduction. Did get an incredible pop, and it was a good moment as well, ladies and gentlemen. That didn't get a big pop. So, all right, we're getting into the meat potato here, boys. We're on the back 9. We're on like the 16th hole here, and we need pars, right? And we're gonna hit a fucking birdie with this match here. AJ Styles, 27 minutes and 12 seconds, crown jewel, a love letter to their feud. Canton gave it 5 stars, Richie. Canton gave it 5 fucking stars. For when I rate matches on my spreadsheet and my gimmick, coming soon, rankwrestling.com. Check it out, guys. It's pretty close. Anyways, cheap plug. I gave it, when I rank a match, if I go 4.25, it's an all-time match. All right? I went 4.25 in this match. It's an all-time match. I think it was a little bit masturbatory. Don't shoot the messenger here. I think that it was a little bit too, like a little try hard in a way, but I love both guys. I love Cena. I love AJ. They were humming. AJ had the gear on. These guys, this is the last of their phenomenal matches. We'll talk about another one later, but in their eyes, it's the last great legacy match they're going to have, and I'm not mad about it. But just in the moment, here. I felt that it was an all-time match. It was just a low end, and I didn't even go 4.5. I went 4.25, a high end 4.25 match. Jay, how fucking stupid am I with that remark here? You know,
Well, pretty fucking stupid. I love this match. Everything about this match for me is always it just I love this match. I would not change anything from the attire, the entrance, the vibe, everything about this match. I've watched this match so many times. It's my favorite match. It's my favorite John Cena match of 2025. Wow. And that's saying something because AJ Styles versus John Cena at SummerSlam is my favorite match of all time. So this, I loved everything about this match. I would not change anything. This match, in my eyes, was perfect. In terms of like how we got here was weird. But in terms of match quality, I mean, you're talking about they put finisher after finisher after finisher. Like this is creative superstar to the 10th power right here. My favorite match of 2025. The only reason I would only put it below Cody Cena 2 because of the story that Cody Cena 2 said, but this, in my eyes, this match was perfect. I wouldn't change anything. The only thing I would rank it one thing lower than Cody Cena 2 is just because there was like no real story. This is just a match that was very pleasing to the fans.
Yeah, and that Paris crowd was easy.
They were
Australia.
They were eating this match up. They were fed. They left full after this match. So yeah.
They were yearning for it. And then they this wasn't, what was I talking about earlier? Like stale salad and burnt steak.
No.
You know what I mean? No, this was the crowd was hungry and they took well advantage of the.
And then you can remember the sea of yellow shirts in the back of the match was just insane to see. So yeah.
Just to me, Richie, my nitpick is just a little bit too much callback. A little bit. I don't want to say rehearsed because they have a great chemistry, but the layout would just, to me, it came across a little bit rehearsed. But still, I let my guard was totally gone. My disbelief was totally in. My investment was totally there. Just when I fully digested it, it was just like, I'm not going 5 on that.
I mean, for me, it's like you can't get like angry at it because on commentary they literally said it was a video game match, like a match out of a video game, and that's what this match.
And they executed that greatly by design.
Yeah, and like that's the match they were going through. Even John Cena said the intention was to make a tribute to WWE and TNA because John Cena was the quintessential WWE guy, AJ Styles was the quintessential TNA guy. And as a result,
that's what the crux of their feud was when they did the Bill Simmons interview, just to mind everyone the context that you're speaking about. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, Richie.
No, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, like AJ using the finishers of his like greatest rivals and friends from TNA, John Cena using the greatest finishers from his rivals of TNA, the introduction that John gave to Alicia Taylor.
That was AJ. That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
it set the tone for the night and the story of the match.
Yeah, the AJ's gear, and then John Cena apologizing because he didn't clear it with the office, which I found was kind of funny.
Oh, really?
That's
funny.
No, he apologized. He said, I went into business for myself. That was unprofessional. I apologize. So he apologized to creative for that. But again, it's John Cena. That's what he noble guy, allegedly. But the entire thing, like the tombstone into the AA finish, was pretty fun. Again, for me personally, it was just like if you were growing up around that time of John Cena, WWE, and AJ Styles, TNA, like that was like the perfect like callback kind of matchup. That's the matchup you played in your head as a fan when both of them were in separate companies.
100%.
Yeah. So like for me personally, I'd put it above the Sami Zayn match.
I think that's fine too. Because there was a conclusion, even though I have it at the same star rating.
Yeah.
The way I look at star rating, I don't take it serious. It's a shorthand explanation of the match. That's how I look at it. I don't take it too serious or whatnot, right? But Richie, I agree with your sentiment. Let me just catch up on a little comments here, and maybe that skews where we put it, right? All right. Too many callbacks.
Delete that comment.
Delete
it.
I kind of, I'm kidding. A little bit, right? Well, he stick around because he gets to you, Jay. Right? Too many guys taking too much taking a dump on a guy's finisher. All right, Good take. I'm glad.
All right, we're
You want to
friends
take
again.
back your comment?
Well, I'll take it back. My bad.
All right. He's his bad charisma.
Yeah.
And then he says the crowd makes too much of a difference in how great the match is considered. That's probably right. And then he says,
I think the crowd did help the match, though.
"Oh, absolutely."
And not to say that the match would have been bad, but I think it's like you go back and rewatch Hogan Rock at WrestleMania, and like the crowd is what made the match awesome as well. Yeah. So this Australia crowd helped the match extremely as well.
They chanted for 619, so John called an audible and went for a 619. You know what I mean? So it's just like John is very good at reading the audience, and I feel like that's where his bread and butter is. And this match kind of proved like the highlights of like John Cena, even though it's a bunch of finisher spam. It was finisher spam that at least tributed to a generation that you won't see John Cena and AJ Styles ever do again, or with anybody else.
Yes.
All right, so Jay, for now, we'll make you can make your final pitch later, but I think we're Cody AJ. Actually, Captain Charisma, weigh your option too. Where are you at, Cody versus AJ? You can be a part of the show as well as you're kind of chiming in the comments too. But I say for now, I think we kind of hold this at bay right here. All right, again, we're getting into the meat potatoes. So I was lucky enough to go to 4, maybe 5, but 4 of John Cena's final appearances or whatever. On his 36 appearances, I was at 4 of them. So I was at 1/8 of them. I believe I did the math right real quick. This is the second one. The second one I was at. I went to the Springfield, Massachusetts homecoming where he just had a promo and it was a little bit disappointing. I went to the Raw match here. I went to SummerSlam. I forgot to mention that. I was at SummerSlam. Then I went to the Springfield Raw. Then I was at this Raw. And then I went to Saturday night's main event in DC. So those were the 4 events I was at. I think I was at another one, but I don't think so. I don't, right? First world problems with my memory on that one, right? But anyways,
poor you getting to all these shows.
Sorry, right? But anyways, I bring that up because this match is the most fun in a vacuum that I had. You know what I mean? Like Boston, my hometown, the people were yearning for John Cena, his hometown. Like it was electric. Butts the nuts, completely sold out. Insanity. Dominic Mysterio in his element, that douchebaggery. Triple H couldn't suck all the auction out of the air. Right? Not that I don't want to shit on Triple H. I don't mind Triple H, but I'm like, why is Triple H in the ring groaning a little bit, right? But he plays into it, right? He didn't suck up too much of the air. And this was really, really fun. I wish we could live in a memory of this. And I like the Survivor Series match as well, but I didn't like having 5 appearances left and 2 of them being on Dom. I want to kind of dissipate more wrestlers in, but I love this match. I agree with John, 3.5. This is a house show match, but the crowd is electric, just like the Australia crowd, Richie. Not the Paris crowd, even though the Paris crowd was great. This felt like a PLE crowd, and this is phenomenal. Like the match isn't anything special. I went 3.5, but John completes the Triple Crown or the Grand Slam, wins the IC belt, and it's
technically the Triple Crown too.
Super fun, super fun, excellent moment. I'm probably going to overrate it a little bit. Jay, I'll throw it to you. What did you think of this Raw match versus Dom?
I think this match was awesome. I think this helped Dominic Mysterio a lot. He didn't feel like he was intimidated being in the ring with John, especially being on the mic, because we know John Cena can definitely eat somebody up on the mic. I was surprised. I know that there was like a lot of clamoring of John Cena. Now all that's left is him to become a Grand Slam champion. So when I saw like the little reports coming out, I was like, man, are they really going to do this? And then when they made the match, I was like, are they going to have John Cena really, really do? Like, this is one of the best Raws to watch, because like, you're like, I know there are people saying it, but are they really going to do it? And I'm like, John Cena is going to win the Intercontinental Championship with like 4 dates left. And I'm like, they did it. They pulled the trigger, and And I enjoy stuff like this because it's fun. Because I said after there was the one thing I said after I believe was the Cody Rhodes match at SummerSlam is like at this point you just got to enjoy what they're gonna give us. And from starting at AJ Styles to the rest of I think the rest of this run, you just had to sit back and enjoy it. And the fact that they gave him a shot, a chance to win the Intercontinental Championship before his retirement, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it a lot. And like we keep saying, the crowd helped this match out too because they were invested. When you see a crowd that's invested and you're invested, it brings it out of you and you enjoy it more. If a crowd is dead, you're like, fuck, this crowd is really taking it out of it. Which what we saw at WrestleMania 41. The crowd here was not that. So this entire match from beginning to end, all the shenanigans, all the things with the chair, the John Cena wink, everything was just, it was fun. You have to have fun.
Fun
It
is
was
the best word for this.
fun. You had fun with it, and I go back and I rewatch this match, and still it's fun. And like we used to get mad at Super Cena when he flipped out and picked up Dominic Mysterio after the frog splash. I was like, oh, there's Super Cena, and I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad. I just sat back and I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, this shit is fun. I'm enjoying it. So I love this match for what it was. It was such a fun match.
Yeah, Richie, I'm gonna kind of I have an idea where I want to put this, but I want you to kind of verbalize where your gut would tell you where to slot this, as you kind of give your thoughts on this match as well.
So yeah, it was a epitome of a fun match. I call this the next three matches we're talking about the John Cena side quest era of his retirement tour, where it's like for the Intercontinental Championship, and it was a great way to build Dominic Mysterio and the rivalry with Dom and Cena. Dom being the last guy to pin Cena, which is a huge accomplishment that he's probably going to talk about in the future. Probably not now because you have Gunther riding that high.
I think you should do it in the next segment after Gunther said he's a little bitch for tapping out. And then Dom's like, I last pinned him. I think that'd be funny, actually. Yeah. I'd pitch that if I was in the room. Sorry,
so with Dom, again, this is a fun match. It's just like, it's cheesy Cena, but it's the best kind of cheesy Cena where it's like, the wink, it's not too over the top.
Yeah.
And, just overly dramatically calling the referee. Honestly, like for like the enjoyment I had watching this match, I'd probably put it above the Chamber one. Like I'd put it like right in the top 5 slot.
Ooh, I was gonna. That's all right. That's bold, Cotton. I don't know if I hate it instinctively. I was gonna put it right under Orton as a pitch. What do you think, Jay?
I would definitely put it because this again was like Richie said, this was full John Cena here. And with a slight bit of cartoony, but not too much where you're like, oh well, it was just right. And I think for the amount of fun I at least had watching the match, I would definitely put it above the Chamber, just because also it made him a Grand Slam champion. The crowd, he did it in his hometown. I think that speaks volume too, because again, we weren't expecting him to become a Grand Slam champion. So I think that goes above it because again, it's culminating the ending of his career, and he hit one last goal that I don't know was on his mind on his way out either. So that's why I would put it above Chamber.
Interesting. After digesting that, I don't think I'm mad about it. We'll see about. We'll wait when we get there, right? All right. With Rey Mysterio and Sheamus versus the Judgment Day, Finn, JD, and Dom, 14 minutes and 42 seconds. The week after in MSG. As a whole, coming off the Raw in Boston, the Cena on MSG was kind of a little disappointing. I'm not going to lie, but this match did not disappoint. This is the kind of the definition of a feel-good house show match. I personally went 3.5 as well with John. I thought it was really, really fun, but it didn't hit the fun bar as much as the Dominic match did, even though I gave it the same grade, not to be like a star rating merchant, right? But anyways, I think that this is probably above the Money in the Bank off the rip, because I don't know how consequential it is. But if you want to put it above the Rumble or even above Punk, I don't think it's better than the Orton match, though, Richie. Richie, I'll throw to you first. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like, I think it's like right in that Randy Punk like middle sweet spot.
Tears.
Like you said, it's like a house show match where it's just like nothing bad about it. It's just like the baby faces feel good ending. JD McDonough is a part of a trivia question now, being the last person to be pinned by John Cena. So that's good for him. And again, it was to move the John Cena and Dominic story, but it wasn't really much about that. It was more about just having a feel-good ending to John Cena's Madison Square Garden career. So I'd put that like right in the middle of Randy and Punk.
Jay, any kickback and any memories on that 6-man?
No, it was like you guys said. You guys both said it. It was a feel good match. You know, having the babyface go over, and again, they all did. You know, the the 5 knuckle shuffles, and then the brogue punches, and it was
beats.
yeah, the 5 beats. It was good. I don't disagree with you guys at all.
All right, and then we had the repeat about a month or so after here. Dominic Mysterio wins back the Intercontinental Championship, 16 minutes and 48 seconds at the Survivor Series. John gave it 3.5. I watched this match over the weekend when I was away in Washington, D.C. What did I watch? I think I watched it after SmackDown on just like a rewatch, just as I like grade my shit or whatever, because I'm a fucking nerd. But anyways,
Aren't we all?
But I went 3. Well, it's a safe space. I went 3.25 strong with like a 3.5 week. I thought it was very similar to the Raw match, but I don't think that I got the same excitement or the same high of winning. I think the assumption of John dumping the belt in a way probably hindered a little bit of the match. But I did enjoy the different pace of the run-ins, even though it wasn't like. It didn't make for a better match, but it made for a similar match vibe-wise. And of course, the Liv Morgan return is awesome. And then John, I don't know if I love Roxanne, who's about 105 pounds, giving him a spinning DDT, right? But hey, you know, John's John, right? Like it's I get what he was trying to pass along, and I kind of admire him a little bit for it in a way too, right? So I think this is about. Probably, I think it's a little bit more important than the 6-man that we just talked about. Probably, I would say it's probably in that ballpark, but I wouldn't sniff the Chamber, and I probably prefer the Orton match. Jay, I'll throw to you on this one first. What did you think of the repeat of the Dominic match?
Like you said, it wasn't. I think because everybody was expecting Dom to regain the title. I think you were like, okay, well, so how long is this match gonna last? I think what kind of dramatized the match a little bit is the assumption that Dominic got hurt when he did the little Hurricane Rana to the floor. So that kind of like, okay, but then you like, okay, well, it picked up because he's willing to do anything. And I think that the little, you know, month rivalry that he had with John Cena definitely helped out Dominic a lot. And I think he definitely benefited from the feud. It wasn't as, again, it's hard to repeat, what they did in Boston. But this match, I feel like, was better than the 6-man. In terms of, you know, it's a title change. He put somebody over on his way out, a young talent like Dominic, who again has no fear going up against people who have been doing this for a while. So we've seen him do it with, you know, with his dad and other wrestlers, and he's getting comfortable, which is really good. So yeah, I put it above the 6-man tag.
Yeah, Richie, any versus Orton versus 6-man tag, that neighborhood. What do you say?
Yeah, I think it's above the 6-man,
Okay.
right under Randy, because it was cool how John put over pretty much the entire Judgment Day. Even though Finn and JD, they got the double AA, they're the last duo to actually get that. So that's a pretty cool nod for them to be a part of that moment as well.
Random question, Richie. Is this the first time he actually hits it on 2 people at the same time?
No, he hit it on
Edge, right?
No, Edge fell out of that one.
Yeah.
There was if you remember the Authority.
Oh yeah.
Security, he did it there.
Okay, I couldn't remember if he actually hit a full double.
He teased it a bunch of times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Well, Finn and Finn and JD are in the same weight class as Roxanne we were just talking about. So if they were gonna, they'd be all right to do it there.
Speedy recovery to JD.
I know. I'm not shit on the guy. I think they're a tremendous tag team. I think they're underrated in ring.
I wish they
look at their resume there.
Things more, but you know,
I know.
There.
JD has a great resume. All right. All right. We're at the last one, Gunther, which was 23 minutes, 43 seconds. Saturday night's main event. Canton went 4.5. I rewatched this evening before going to Eli's JV basketball game. They won, by the way. They killed him. He did not play a lot because they killed him. So it was very
Look, a
wasted.
win is a win. You know, a win is a win.
That's right.
He played a lot yesterday in a close game, but anyways. We're not going down a tangent. All right, Gunther, this is my favorite match on the run. I'm just gonna rip off the Band-Aid. It's my favorite match on the run. I was there live. Floor seats were amazing. I didn't pay top dollar, so I'd probably relish in that a little bit more, being on the floor, not paying that top dollar. But I thought it was excellent live. The experience was so fun live. The hunger in the fans for John was phenomenal to be a part of. You know, a little Gunther mark, so to speak. I didn't let that out of the bag. I kind of, in our preview, Richie, I kind of talked myself into John winning due to the pushback or whatnot. But I always knew that the right thing was for John to put over Gunther for the equity of John. And they did it masterfully, I think, in my opinion. I think that this match is going to grow in lore. I don't understand the kickback. I think that they're taking an inch and running a mile with it, or they have an agenda to make, to prop something else up in another, so to speak. Yeah. So if people are running with this, I think it's agenda based. But I bring that up because it's like a sports team. Like you lost in double overtime. The game was phenomenal, but you're going to kick back and not relish in how awesome it was. You're going to kick back in the misery of losing the game, in the misery of traveling to Gillette Stadium and losing a playoff game. And you spent all this money to go to Gillette to watch awesome playoff game, and you lost. So you're going to be pissed off. That's the emotion in kickback that I felt from the crowd. I was a little nervous that the match was going to stink and that would be the pushback, but I fucking love it. The farther I get away from it, I love it and love it. I thought Gunther was phenomenal last night. He didn't even do shit. He didn't have to do shit. He didn't have to do anything. He's made. John Cena made him. It's a stamp. Like, it's proven. He did a victory lap once, not twice, but 3 times. He smirked at AJ. It rolled down his window and did this. He set himself up for 2026 on this night. He was phenomenal. He worked so well with John, even early on, where they tried to make you think that the match was going to end soon, so they could have a moment like throughout the rest of the night. And like Gunther was going to slip on a banana field, kind of WrestleMania 41-esque, and John was going to win quick, and that was a creative way to kind of protect Gunther. But no, that match built for another 20 minutes. I thought this was excellent. Is it 5 stars? No, it's not. But I think it's hovering around what I gave Cody at 4.5. And I know you guys are going to think the Cody match is better, and the Cody match should be presented better because John won. John put him over and so on and so forth. But this match was much more simpler than any match on the list. And simple, stupid to me, it works best when the guys are extremely over and they have the crowd, and they had the crowd for all 26 minutes or whatever it was of this match. Guys, I can ramble on and on and on and on. I think it's phenomenal. I truly do. And I'll stand on any mountain and argue with it over it, the semantics of it with anyone. Richie, please take the mic before I keep gushing, please.
I enjoyed the match as well. I think I was a little harsher on the match than you were, because I know you really enjoyed the match. And for me, I love the ending. I know a lot of people disliked it. I loved it. And I think it was me and Rossi on the preview show saying it's like John should probably tap, because Gunther made this promise that he's going to make John Cena tap. And I know everyone's saying, or majority of the talking points are, oh, he should have passed out, because never give up, right? Never give up. If John passes out, then the assumption is there's still another story to tell because he didn't quit. If John quits to Gunther or taps out to Gunther, that passes not the torch, but it passes that story on to Gunther. He's the guy who made the guy who said never give up tap out. So now you run with him, similar to how Brock beat the streak. Was Brock the right guy to beat the streak? Probably not. Roman would probably get that benefit a lot better. However, now you have this story and you have this momentum that you can't replicate. There's not going to be another guy for a long time that's never going to tap out for 20 plus years in WWE lexicon. So now WWE has the opportunity to make a mega boss, so to speak. And this match, in my opinion, even though I enjoyed the AJ Styles match tremendously because it was like a callback to my childhood, as a match itself with the structure, with the sleeper hold, with John getting out, getting put back in, getting out, getting put back in, until for him like finally accepting where it's like he doesn't need to continue on this fight anymore because retirement is going to be here regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I find beautiful about the match. People can like have a different opinion on it. People, it's like, oh, that's not what the match made. John gave up. You can have your opinions. That's fine. Whatever. I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will say, yeah. It's like, finally, it's like this guy who was like, go, WWE, WWE, WWE can finally not be a part of WWE because now there are more than enough people to take on the mantle that John Cena once held by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the acceptance of it. So for me personally, I'd put it in between the Cody and AJ match.
Oh, you stole my gimmick. Right. I was gonna play Price is Right, Plinko. But anyways, maybe I'll play that with you after, Jay. Richie, way to ruin the moment.
Well,
all
yeah.
Right, let me your boy Jay, Captain Charisma. I'm gonna throw some of these comments out and I'm gonna let you close the Gunther match. All right. Honestly, wasn't Gunther already over? Former champ, longest IC run, drawing comparisons to the Honky Tonk Man. Gunther was over at that A- A level, in my opinion. I think that there's tiers to this, brother, as Hogan would say. And I don't think he was on that Punk or Cody tier. He lost to both those guys. He wasn't on that Roman tier. I don't even think Roman Reigns has ever thought about Gunther. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So now that he has defeated John in this light, I could easily he should be main eventing WrestleMania against Cody, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Night 1, even night 2, and he should get his win back.
Mm-hmm.
Do your SummerSlam 14 parallel in a way, right?
Yeah, if it's not a championship match, he's retiring somebody else at Mania. That's how it should
go. Or he's retiring AJ on a second and last match on night 1, right? Like, and he's just building up his lore. I think that he was already over, but he was already over to a certain extent. He was over to that world title B champion level.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the star as Punk, Cody, Roman, Brock. Even he hasn't had the moments, and this was a moment to kind of get him up there because he has the talent and the equity now and all that stuff to get to that level. And hopefully he draws the attention of those guys up top, because those guys up top are a little gatekeeper-ish in a way, because I think they see that Gunther is coming, and maybe they don't want to go in the ring and have that style, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we're pretty content over here doing our thing, right? So that's that. All right, and so he gets it. So that's where I was saying he was over only at a certain level. Jay, again, I'm saying we're talking Gunther here, so I kind of suck it up all the air in the room. I'm sorry. Jay,
No, you're good.
The ball is to you, my man. Go.
So, and I've seen a lot of the pushback on this match, right? Because when I first saw it, so the John Cena tapping out, and I don't know if you guys saw, but he posted this picture on his Instagram of Obi-Wan Kenobi right before he gave up to Darth Vader, knowing he was going to die, but it was for the betterment of the future. I compare this to Iron Man Endgame when Pepper tells him you can rest now, and that's what John Cena did. I think people are overcomplicating the finish. If you really look at it, the shock that it had is the same shock when you heard Undertaker lose at WrestleMania. It like, I don't want to say it killed the crowd, but it, like, the silence, because you saw John Cena tap out. And I was like, when I first thought about it, I was like, oh shit, like they really had him tap. And I was pissed. I was like, oh man, but it made sense. It makes perfect sense for John Cena, because you see the smile and you're like, then you understand it. You're like, he's like, there's nothing else.
Especially with Gunther's music too, when they just switched it back to the Walter one right before this.
Yeah.
Too. And it's just like now it's like you feel like John's like at peace,
Yes,
it's like maybe it's only my own head canon on seeing it, but it's like if you look at it through that lens, like
hmm
even if you don't look at that lens, it's like John losing to Gunther made Gunther a bigger star
it
overnight.
did
Now it's up for WWE to carry on that momentum. Whether they do,
exactly.
they not in the moment. We're talking about this about a day or two after this happened.
hmm
Like, that's to be determined. But as of right now, it's carrying some good momentum for not only Gunther, but just the storylines that are gonna come out of this. Like, how's Cody gonna react? How's Punk gonna react down the
Right,
line?
and
And
the
that's beautiful.
yeah, and I think it puts Gunther in this weird position of him being a career killer,
Yeah,
right? Because
I think it's
he
awesome.
did it. He did it to Goldberg. He did it to John. I mean, he did it to two unstoppable people, and it builds that lore, that aura. That now Gunther is the most hated heel in wrestling, for the exception of Triple H. But because you saw people pissed off. Like I saw the video of people
Yeah,
in DC. Like,
yeah.
when was the last time you saw a true heel needed to be escorted out like that? You talk about 70s, 80s, or JBL type heel,
You
you
could,
know?
yeah, you could say like Triple H is getting a majority of the heat, and sure, maybe he
Yeah.
is. However, it's like people are still upset with Gunther. Like
Oh
people
yeah.
aren't making that decision because you're not going to see like somebody like going after like you saw like MJF. He almost got like I think he almost got like attacked in
Mhm.
CMLL. This is happening in the States. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah,
So now it's like you're getting this heat from a WWE show.
hmm
yeah.
And
And they know it's fake.
yeah,
Like
the thing
it's
is, it's
not
like
1975 where it's real, brother. You know what I mean?
the thing is, it's like with, and this kind of like dictates the entire retirement tour, in my opinion. Uh, the biggest criticism WWE has had in this year, and I agree with it to a certain extent, is that they don't take enough chances. They play it safe.
hmm
They did two choices in this entire retirement run that were not the safe choice: turning Cena heel and making Cena tap. The heel run you could argue wasn't great. And I wouldn't disagree with that. However, we still got some pretty good moments from that heel turn. Now with this, make a new star, and then whoever defeats Gunther is going to be a bigger star for defeating Gunther.
Exactly.
So it's just passing on the energy on
Well,
who's going to be that.
it's similar to when Gunther had his Intercontinental Championship reign and he went 666 days. You're like, who the hell is going to beat this guy? And then Sami Zayn beats him at WrestleMania. So that built up Sami to be, that next in line. So now you got this killer Gunther. Whoever beats him next is gonna. But again, hopefully WWE can continue that momentum, because like, you build Gunther to beat your biggest baby face, biggest face of the company in years. He has to be going to WrestleMania.
Mm.
Yes.
Like if you don't do so, and the thing is, I know people are saying that he should, AJ Styles should be next on his hit list, right? Because AJ Styles is retiring next. But if there is no world title in Gunther's future after this match, then they're going to do him a huge disservice, because then you're not keeping up with the momentum. The snowball is going to melt by the time it gets to where the big payoff is. Um,
They got to
but
keep
this
moving.
match was great. This match was great, and I think the shock value picks that match up. The only reason why I wouldn't put it over Cody Cena 2, because John Cena passed the torch to Cody Rhodes. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, they passed the torch to him." That moment with John Cena and Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring after SummerSlam spoke volumes, because Cody Rhodes was never supposed to be the face of the company, right? No matter how you look at it, he left, he did his thing in AEW, he came back, he made it to that point. And I know a lot of people don't see Cody Rhodes there, but he is that next person to carry the mantle of white meat baby face like John Cena did. Like, Cody Rhodes is that next one. So that's why I would put Cody Cena 2 at number 1 for the impact that Gunther Cena had. That's the only reason I would put it at 2, because John Cena made 2 big stars this year.
Eh,
He made Cody, and he made Gunther. And I know a lot of people, there's a lot of flack because they said John Cena shouldn't have lost his last match, or people who are retiring shouldn't go, put people over. There's a lot of bullshit. John Cena made 2 He made a heel and he made a baby face in 1 year. What other wrestler can really say that they've ever done that? Two big people who, if you see Gunther and Cody Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania this year, it makes sense. It is a good, because you have, Cody Rhodes going after Gunther because he beat one of his idols. He retired him. He made him quit. A man who never quits. Now Gunther has a reason to beat Cody. So like John Cena made 2 stars. That's the one thing that that a lot of people are glossing over. He made 2 stars and he lost making 2 stars.
And with the Cody match, like you could read John's lips, you could say he was like, that was the best I got. You beat the real John Cena.
Yeah.
So that was like the last time we saw like the quote unquote real John Cena is with Cody, and Gunther pretty much picked up the scraps. You know what I mean?
Him.
You know, and then like I know a lot of people are making fun of Cody. like looking at the shoes and the armbands. But the thing is, it's like that's going to tell a great story if WWE goes in that direction. And I do think Cody versus Gunther would be the best match option for WrestleMania. However, if you can't do that, if you want to do more marquee match, again, understand. But you have Gunther retire somebody at WrestleMania. And then if you want to retire Brock at SummerSlam, you could do that. If you go like through that calendar year of Gunther just retiring people, and then finally like Cody Rhodes is at the end of it, or like at least a part of it, you have that built-in story, because in Cody's first match with John, he couldn't pull the trigger. With Gunther, there was no hesitation, and that's the story where it's like it took Cody 2 tries to take out John. It took Gunther 1.
Right.
And that's the natural like Rocky IV story. And that's what's going to make this run great if WWE wants to go in that direction.
Right.
All right. So we're at the end here. At the end, we're going to read 18-1. But before we do that, what sticks out to you guys, or what feels a little out of order here? There's one to me that I'd make a pitch for, but Richie, I'll go to you. Does anything stick out that perhaps is a little out of order?
Honestly, it looks pretty good for me. The only thing that I might switch up a little bit is maybe switch the Chamber and Randy, just because I feel like the Chamber, John wasn't as active as he was with the one with Randy. But at the same time, like again, you can make a case for anything. But honestly, I don't really think anything's that much out of place.
Jay, does anything stick out to you?
And maybe this is just me because of the moment. I think I would put Dom Cena 1 a little higher just because of the significance of him becoming a Grand Slam champion. And because of, that, I may put him like maybe between Logan, Sammy, just because I enjoyed the significance of John Cena actually retiring as a Grand Slam champion. I know, statistic wise and stats, I definitely like that a little more. But other than that, that's probably the only one I would try to switch up. But yeah, maybe putting Randy over Chamber, because I feel like that's when, again, John Cena was just more, a better version of him in the ring. So,
okay, let me catch on a few comments here.
Yeah.
Is Brock set to retire simply because SummerSlam is in Minnesota? I think John alluded to Brock as retiring in Minnesota in an interview, and people ran with that, and they already announced SummerSlam in Minnesota. So I think there's a strong assumption there. So, Captain definitely likes the top 3. Are you guys good with the top 3?
Yes.
100%.
Same, and I'm good with the top 4. Honestly, I think Sammy is 4 as well. I was actually gonna pitch the moment of the Elimination Chamber. How much do we weigh that moment? Because if we weigh that moment, I think that weighing that. I think
if we were doing matches and moments, that probably crack the top 2. You know what I mean? Like, because that's never going to happen again. Like, honestly, you could make a case for number 1 for that being the most impactful moment of this 2025. But if we're going based on matches, then I wouldn't really weigh it that much. If you want to put like the heel turn on its own list, I think it'd be like an obligatory like number 1 or 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, if it's the moment.
If it's the moment, yeah. But if we're only looking at matches, if we're only because I know with this case we definitely put the moment in there.
Yeah.
Then at this point, the match should
We
be a
just haven't
lot
really
lower.
talked about how much we want to weigh it, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if we're only looking at the match, then I would say it should be significantly lower. I think we're being generous by putting it there because the match was actually, you know,
Like it was a fine chamber, but
Yeah.
John's participation in it,
it
like
was
it peaked with the Punk stuff and then the ending.
yeah. So and that you're talking about what maybe 5 minutes of that. If you put in, the stomp and everything, it's
Yeah.
not that much.
All right, so you're good with that, and then where are you, Richie, with Dominic versus Logan? Dominic from Raw.
I mean, they're very good for 2 completely different reasons. The Dominic Mysterio match is John Cena's ultimate babyface match. It's in his backyard. Feel good moment. With Logan, it was more of, oh wow, this is pretty good. It's like Logan's in here, Cena's in here. They're actually having pretty good chemistry. Again, you could flip those if you really want to. I think they're fine as they
I
are.
think
But
Logan in a vacuum's a better match.
yeah,
But
it's like again,
yeah.
I wouldn't like disagree with switching them, but at the same time, I think it's perfect where it is.
Yeah. I think if you just if the more the moment of John Cena being a Grand Slam champion, but in terms of match quality, Logan Paul, Logan versus Dominic, Logan is definitely better. So yeah, like Richie says, those two can probably just stay where they're at.
I think we're good, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so we have audio listeners, so I'm going to read 18-1, and then I want to just close real quick with like an overall grade. So number 18, tagging with Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre on SmackDown. Number 17 versus R-Truth on Saturday night's main event. 16, R-Truth at SmackDown with the pipe bomb. I think we weighed the pipe bomb there a little bit. Versus Cody at WrestleMania 41 was number 15. Versus Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza was 14. 13 was where he teamed with Logan Paul versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank. Number 12 is his Royal Rumble match performance, 30 minutes, 31 seconds, coming in at number 23. Number 11 is CM Punk. That's sad. In retrospect, just that
it was the interferences,
Yeah, I know. We harped on that pretty long.
Yeah.
But just in retrospect, you fantasy booked to start the year a CM Punk match, and then here at the end of the year, it's number 11.
They did have a better match at a Night of Champions in 2012, which I think is supremely underrated.
Oh yeah. And people don't. Yeah. They sleep on that match a lot.
Honestly,
of course it's better. It was in Boston.
Honestly, I watched that match more than their Money in the Bank match.
I actually watched their Raw match a lot more, though.
The Raw match.
The Raw match. Yeah. And that's just, at that point, yeah, we can sit here and argue that.
Yeah. Next spot.
All right. Not a lot of arguing tonight. We need to bring Justin on so we can yell at each other. All right, number 10, teaming with Ray and Sheamus versus the Judgment Day on Raw, his final Raw appearance. Number 9 versus Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series. Number 8 was the Elimination Chamber, his performance. He came in last. Number 7, Randy Orton Backlash. Number 6, Dominic Mysterio in Boston, winning the IC title. Number 5, Logan Paul, Clash in Paris. Number 4, Sami Zayn sleeper match on SmackDown to kick off the U.S. Open Challenge. No contest. Number 3 versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel. Number 2 versus Gunther, Saturday night's main event last Saturday night. And then number 1 versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam to redeem the WrestleMania match. Guys, as Captain Charisma would say, good stuff, fellas. So the last thing is, let's give a letter grade. Let's kind of marinate in our head real quick what we think a letter grade as John Cena overall package-wise for 2025. Do you want me to kick it off? Does anyone want to take the floor? I don't mind going first if you guys.
Well, we know Bleacher Report gave it an F, so let's see if we coincide with that.
F for fun, right?
Yeah.
All right, so my gut instincts tells me that it should be a C plus B minus. That's where I think it is. I think that we look at this and there is a plethora of all-time matches. And again, all-time match for me is 4.25 and above. You can make a case for 5 of them. And outside of that, there's plenty of moments like the heel turn, Dom Mysterio. There's adequate matches to add to that with Randy Orton and even CM Punk. The Rumble, he was decent. And then the bottom stuff, a little forgettable, but nothing super bad. The WrestleMania 41 match wasn't super bad, no, but it was super disappointing. So it set the tone for the rest of the year, right? So I think that he was harped by a skew of bad booking decisions, a few unfortunate mishaps like The Rock bowing out, right? The WWE has had a plethora of bad luck this year with injuries and pregnancies, with storylines, right? So they had a little bit bad luck here with The Rock kind of bowing out. Would I take away the Elimination Chamber moment? Absolutely not. As we guys just talked about 2 minutes ago, if we would do moments, it would be number 1 or 2, hands down, if we included the matches, right? But I think that C+, B- is a fair grade. Is it middling? Perhaps, but this run is middling, right? There's enough great in here to add it to say a B, and then there's just enough average overall to kind of equate a C. So I think I'm going to go with a B-. Richie, you want to go up next?
Yeah, I'll give it a C. Just taking everything involved, because taking into account of like the storyline narrative structure of the entire thing, along with the matches. Because with the matches, they're above and beyond probably John's greatest work since he left in like 2018, around that area. There's been a lot of good, also a lot of bad, just taking everything into account. And I think it's just like the pros and cons kind of even out, maybe slightly more with the pros. And I guarantee that people are going to look on this run a lot more favorably as time goes on, just because the body of work, I think, is going to be well remembered in general, where you have the Cody match, the Gunther match, the AJ match, and just that IC title run, if you want to call it that story that kind of helped elevate Dom a little bit. Overall, I think it's a C.
All right, Jay, we got a B-, C+ grade. We got a C grade. And what's your grade?
I'd give it a C+, because if we're looking at match quality, if you look at the top 5-6 matches, I think match quality, it's the body of work will speak for itself. Like you guys say, if you go back and watch a lot of those matches, you will remember that John Cena is really good in the ring. Now, weighing in like the storylines and how he was booked and all this other stuff, it definitely brings down the grade. In terms of match quality, if we only look at the matches, I would give it a B. But the full package and everything, I think the highest I can go is a C+. And the reason I'm giving it the C+, again, it's because, we look at the fact that John Cena on his way out, he put over Gunther, he put over Cody, and he put over Dominic Mysterio. I mean, three people who couldn't have gotten a better rub from being in the ring with John Cena. And I think the fact that we got, the Cody rivalry that finally did better, the final, rivalry that he had with Dominic Mysterio, and then the crescendo with putting Gunther over. That's why I give it the C+.
All right, so we're kind of all in the same tier of grades, and we just kind of disperse how we feel. I'm leaning a little bit on the highs. I'm probably going to lean a little bit on the moments, and I do think he had 3 all-time matches.
Oh
easily, and he did do Cody right, even though I do feel Cody isn't where he was this maybe at this time last year, so to speak. But I think that we'll see where he's at coming once the John stops sucking the energy out of the year. I look at this, I think the Brock stuff is inconsequential. People are taking an inch and running a mile with it, or have agendas to try to make points or whatever. But I think that if you look at a Gunther and a Brock prospect match, it makes sense that John put both over leading into that 100%, right? And the biggest disappointment to me overall is the 3-star CM Punk match. Having that at number 11 and him being his best rival, I think we would all agree he's at least top 3 for as a rival. And then just having that be a parade of interference and really taken away from the match, it just felt weird timing to have to roll those out. Perhaps if they rolled those guys out early or probably around the AJ Logan spot, they would have had much better return. But storyline wise, they both had a very busy year, and I guess they had to fit it in when they had to fit it in. So it was kind of is what it is. So, all right, guys, I think we're in the middle. I don't think it's an F. It's not an A, but I think, like you said, Richie, C, C plus J, B minus me. That's where it's at. All right, Richie, Jay, plug your stuff. I know you've been on before, but where can the people find you?
So I am on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at the JayxCruz on all platforms. So the TheJayxCruz.
Richie?
At Retold Richie Mars. You can follow me on all platforms: Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Mostly active on TikTok. Usually try to go for 2 to 5 videos a day. We just crossed over 19,000, so thank you all for following.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're trying. Thank you. I'm trying to get to 20, maybe by the end of the year, maybe not, but it's going to be a fun ride regardless.
Awesome. Guys in the comments, especially newbie Sky Captain Charisma, thanks for jumping in. Don't be a stranger. Reach out, Captain, and let us know where you found us. Share with a friend. And guys, John Cena year is over, and it was fun to look back and do this. So, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.